Brian Kelly's going cock hunting this weekend, Arthur. Gamecock hunting. And we're previewing the hunt. Let's get to the football. Punch that button, Arthur. Please, sir. Sir. Welcome all. I'm Ruddy Rutledge, and he's Arthur. The LSU Tigers will return to action Saturday night in Death Valley against the South Carolina Gamecocks. And for the first time this season, Coach Brian Kelly, HMFIC of the Tigers, will be looking to rebound after a loss to his best bud Lane Kiffin and his dog Juice. After a much-needed bye week, Kelly's Tigers have now had 2 weeks to work out all the little kinks in their struggling offense. Little kinks like not having a running game, not having a quarterback that can throw the ball down the field, an offensive line that gives up sacks when facing a three-man rush. You know, just a few little kinks to work out. As a series, this Bayou Bengals versus Thunder Chickens matchup doesn't have a lot of meat to it. LSU holds a dominant 20-2 lead in the series overall with 1 tie. It's not a historical rivalry like LSU-Ole Miss or a hate game like LSU-Florida. South Carolina hasn't beaten the Tigers since Steve Tannehill pulled out a 1-point win in 1994 over Curly Hallman's boys in Tiger Stadium. Now that is a mullet. How did that guy ever lose a football game? Anyway, this is not a series fans typically get fired up about. It's not a rivalry. But after the way LSU escaped, and I do mean escaped, Columbia last season with a win, safe to say the Chickens don't care a whole lot for the Tigers. Because the Chickens thought they got the shaft from the refs. They didn't. But it was a loss their fan base never seemed to get over. And many of them haven't gotten over it to this very day. Still crashing out on the internet, embarrassing themselves. Arthur took off early tonight. Had to get ready for his fight tomorrow with the neighbor's dog. It's a rematch. So it's not a rivalry, but there is a little heat on this matchup this season. And if there's heat, anything can happen. After last season's thriller, that 36-33 game between these two teams, nothing would surprise me. Of course, I could say that about college football in general these days, especially after these past few bizarro weeks. Everything seems backwards now. Flip-flopped. Cattywampus. Texas has gone from number 1 in the country to unranked. Arch Manning has gone from nearly being awarded the Heisman Trophy in August to losing to Billy Napier, who was likely fueled by his favorite combination of dried seaweed chips and the finest South Florida gas station drugs. Notre Dame has gone from 0-2 to suddenly looking like world beaters. And 5-1 Vanderbilt, despite the loss to Bama, a very competitive loss, is now widely regarded as a good football team. I'll repeat, Vanderbilt is a good football team. So up is now down and down is now up in college football. But if everything's backwards, all that hocus-pocus reversal stuff eventually has to make its way down here, right? To the Bayou. So that means LSU is going to have a dominant running game Saturday against South Carolina and rush for over 200 yards. Right? I mean, if we're looking for signs for things being backwards come game day, and we see South Carolina coach Shane Beamer run out Saturday night, farting out of his mouth and cramming chicken tenders up his ass, that's our sign. LSU is going to be able to run the football. Disclaimer, we are just experimenting tonight with this background. May not stick. But looking at this matchup, it's going to be good on bad on both sides of the ball. LSU and South Carolina both have strong defenses. LSU's is better. And offenses that, how can I put this, make other offenses that are not so strong look real strong. Some people don't think it be like it does, but it do. But whichever of these offenses can break out of its cycle of suckage Saturday night is going to make for the story of this game. We're going to come back to the LSU offense, in particular the offensive line, which has been softer than Mark Sanchez losing a knife fight to a 70-year-old. Old men don't play around. But first, the Tiger defense. Didn't close out against Ole Miss the way Tiger fans wanted and expected. Gave up way too many third down conversions in the fourth quarter. And to be honest, Lane Kiffin put the moves on Blake Baker, especially on third down. Broke his ankles. It's true. It happened. But the Tiger defense still made plays that could have, should have, won the game for LSU had the offense been halfway complimentary. This South Carolina offense has a good quarterback in Lenoris Sellers. He's a dangerous dual threat, as Tiger fans know good and damn well. But kind of like LSU's quarterback, Sellers went into this season with massive expectations, and things haven't worked out so great so far. Same can be said for the entire Gamecock offense, which ranks dead last in the SEC at just over 300 yards a game. And this LSU defense is not the most ideal remedy for South Carolina's offensive ailments. The Tiger D-line, Jacoby and Guillory, Jack Piper, Bernard Gooden, and all the others will aim to dominate the line of scrimmage, as they usually do, as they typically do, and at least try to limit Cocky's running game to Sellers. Hard to believe he's only got 98 yards rushing this year. Shocking, really. On the other side of the ball lies the LSU offense. Just a lay-in there, like a wet towel. Whether Garrett Nussmeier has been hurt, as many have reported, including Brian Kelly, or whether he's been lazy this offseason, as other reporters have claimed, or whether he's just been crippled by a non-existent running game, or all the above, there's no denying Nuss has been off this season. He threw much sharper, crisper balls last season than anything he's shown on tape in 2025. And if you really want to see him sling it, rewatch that 2022 SEC title game against Georgia. But number 18 for LSU this season has not looked like the same quarterback. And if he continues to struggle in the first half of this game, then he needs to sit. And Michael Van Buren needs to play quarterback for LSU. Van Buren started 8 games last season for Mississippi State. He's not some untested rookie. Throws a nice deep ball, too. But I do wish certain fans would stop saying, put in Van Buren because he can run. He's not a dual threat either. Not based on his tape and his stats. Although, granted, he can probably move a little better than Nuss, or is more willing to at least. So there's that, I guess. LSU simply cannot afford to just waste drives in this game, waiting for Nuss to figure things out. Because guess what? This South Carolina defense is better than Ole Miss's. They have an elite talent on the edge in Dylan Stewart. Tiger fans may remember him from last year's game, too, in Columbia, dominating that game as a true freshman. Well, Dylan's back, and he's got some talented friends around him. Gamecock defense is also pretty stout at linebacker and at safety, which leads me to the root of LSU's offensive struggles heading into this game, the Tiger offensive line. Be nice if they could call themselves the Cock Blockers, just for Saturday night. Might be every Saturday night for some of them, but I keep hearing they got to fix it. they got to fix it. Well, how? How does one suddenly acquire a downhill running game? When the running game is 117 out of 134 in FBS. How are they going to suddenly learn how to line up and push people around in 2 weeks? Being coached by Brad Davis, who has a stable of 4- and 5-star recruits at his disposal. Highly recruited high school players, highly recruited college transfers, and yet they appear to have no idea how to fire off the ball and run block. It's almost like they don't have the right mindset instilled in them to line up and run the football. They constantly miss assignments. They can't deal with twists, and they're always high, standing up too high. Or maybe they are just high. Kind of looks like it sometimes. Now, it may sound like I've given up on this O-line, but I'm not giving up hope that this offense can work around their limitations and improve. So they've had 2 weeks to prepare for South Carolina. And after these 2 weeks, if we don't see big changes on Saturday night to this offense, then this team is not making the playoffs. If they've spent this whole time, these 2 weeks, just focusing on repetitions, working harder on the same crap they've been doing, it ain't going to work, and they're going to get it pushed in on them again Saturday night and beyond. This offense has been so basic under Joe Sloan. It's like watching an offense you'd see in a spring scrimmage. And you can blame Sloan. And you can blame Brad Davis, sure, Alex Atkins. But Brian Kelly, HMFIC, is responsible. He is ultimately responsible. Now, whether it's adding more blockers into the backfield, fullback Jack Pyburn returns perhaps with power back Bauer Sharp, I wouldn't mind that. Whether it's going 22 personnel, 2 backs, double tight, or simply giving some different linemen a chance to play, they got to do something different. Whatever it takes to get some semblance, to have some semblance of a running game. I don't care if they have to line up in the wishbone with Harlem Berry, Caden Durham at halfback, Caleb Jackson at fullback, Juwan Johnson at quarterback. They'd probably rush for 400 yards. But whatever they do, LSU better shake up this offense coming off this open date, or else fill in the blank. No playoffs, unhappy donors, angry fan base. Prediction time. The Tiger Stadium crowd at night for homecoming will play a factor. It will be loud, 100,000 plus. Many of them screaming drunk. Not Mark Sanchez screaming drunk, hopefully. I expect Baker's LSU defense to return to its true dominant form in this game. I think he will have a plan for Sellers that heavily involves Harold Perkins, and the Tigers will contain Sellers far better than they did a year ago. In the Tiger corners, Delane, Pickett, Woodland will put the clamps down on the Cock receivers, on the Gamecocks receivers. On the other side, I said we needed to see a change, big changes, and I think we will. I truly believe we will. For all his faults, Brian Kelly is usually pretty quick to address glaring problems within his program, if they're in any way addressable right away. This offensive line may not get much better, although they have to show they can run when the chickens drop 8. But the play calling and quarterback play must get better, working with this offensive line. Hopefully, we see more screens and quick hitches to Barryon Brown in the passing game. Please get that man the ball. Then there's Nussmeier. I've got to believe This guy is going to put something together for his senior season. Kelly says Nuss has been throwing the ball well this week. We shall see. I think he shows some improvement in the game Saturday night. I do. How much, I'm not sure. And the Tigers show us they had a productive bye week, and they run the ball a bit better, especially in the second half. Maybe with some creative formations, maybe more jet sweeps to Xavion Thomas. And the LSU defense shines throughout the game. It could be a close defensive struggle for the better part of the game, but I'm going with the Tigers for homecoming in Death Valley by 2 scores. Safety A.J. Halsey comes up with a big interception late in the fourth quarter, and LSU beats down the Cocks. LSU beats the Cocks. The Tigers defeat the Gamecocks 24-13. Thanks for watching. For Arthur the Party Dog, wish him luck tomorrow in his fight. I'm Ruddy Rutledge, and this is some Bayou Football.